So we saw this idea of a dictionary last time, where we were trying to group together or index things by some name or category, like say the date of birth.
Date of birth, yeah.
So you're trying to group the students by date of birth, and then we found that if two students went into the same group, that meant that they had same birthday. And then also when we were doing the shops, if we wanted to collect the total bill, for example, by customer, then we found out the maximum purchases of some particular type by customer. Then instead of having a separate variable for each customer, we
for
said
shops we said variable.
Yeah, because we said we only have 3 shops, so we can keep 3 variables, but customers
correct.
are many, and new ones may come if we get new bills.
Right.
So we said it's better to have one collection where we index by the name of the customer, and we keep for each customer we keep the value, rather than creating a new variable for every customer. So this was our new way of collecting information. And then we also said that with the dictionary we could have a list, like the list of students born on a particular day,
or even list of bills
for a given customer, and so on. So is there anything interesting we can do with this word data set using dictionaries?
I was thinking, the old problem which we try to do, noun pronoun resolution.
Okay.
Maybe there's a way to do it with dictionaries, because specifically this category, every word is a unique category, right?
Correct. So we want to resolve these personal pronouns. So we know the category of the word is a pronoun. And we are looking for a matching noun.
So why can't we just take out all the cards and you make a dictionary?
Okay.
By category.
Okay.
So pronoun dictionary, which basically has categories as the entry index. So we can basically make a list of all the pronouns, list of all the nouns, list of all the verbs. That may be useful, because you may want to do something with resolving word with find the subject of the verb, find the object of the verb, or something like that. All these kind of interesting questions. Right now we are doing pronoun noun, but for all of that we will need to make a dictionary, right? Some kind of dictionary where.
So let's try and do that. Yeah. So maybe we can try and do that, right? So let's try and make a dictionary. Shall we do it for all types or only pronouns? Okay, let's try to do it.
Dictionary can be for all type, but we'll only keep track of pronoun and noun right now.
Yeah. So we will start with, so we'll just keep maybe the word position instead of writing
index,
the word.
Right?
Index,
Index should be good enough.
So we have this.
So I go through, I can say whether it's pronoun or noun and the index, right?
Yeah.
And then you can just record it. So we make a list of, so the dictionary is basically storing the list of cards.
List of cards of a given type.
Of a given type.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do I turn it around, or do I keep it like this, or?
Turn it around so we keep the order, I think.
Okay. So it is a pronoun.
And its word number 0. Okay. So the first pronoun is 0.
So this is the verb, so I'm skipping it, right?
Yes.
Monday is a noun.
Okay.
2. Morning is a noun. 3.
Okay.
Swaminathan is a noun. 4.
Okay.
This is verb, adjective, preposition, verb, pronoun. His is a pronoun. 9.
Okay.
Ice is a noun. 10.
Okay.
He is a pronoun. 11.
Okay.
The verb, Monday is a noun. 13.
Okay. So each time you call out a noun or a pronoun, I add it to the list for the appropriate dictionary entry.
Yeah. Of course, not all nouns are of interest to us. We're only interested in name nouns. We'll see later. Okay. Especially is an adverb and plus an adjective. In is a preposition. There is an article. Calendar is a noun.
18.
18.
Okay.
Preposition, article, adjective, freedom, noun.
22. Okay.
Preposition, Saturday, noun.
24.
24. Conjunction. Okay. Noun, Sunday. 26.
Okay.
It is a pronoun.
27.
27.
Okay.
Verb, adjective, preposition, verb, preposition, article. Monday is a noun. 34.
Okay.
So we have seen Monday already, I think, but we should keep both.
Yeah. So this is a different
copy
of Monday.
It may even mean something else.
Yes.
Monday can only mean one thing. Yeah. Mood is a noun. 35.
Okay.
Preposition, work is a noun. See, work, for example, could be a verb.
Yes. I work. Yeah.
So it's worth keeping the card as is, right? Work. 37. Noun. Conjunction. Discipline is a noun. 39.
Very much.
He is a pronoun, 40.
Many more nouns than pronouns it looks like.
Yeah, so resolution will be harder. Shuddered, 41.
Okay, that's a verb.
Verb, preposition, article, adverb, thought, noun, 45. Preposition, noun, school, 47.
Okay.
The dismal adjective building is a noun, 51.
Okay.
Article, adjective, Vedanayagam is a noun, 54.
Okay.
His, 55. Class is a noun, 56.
Yeah.
Teacher is a noun, 57.
Okay.
Conjunction, headmaster is a noun, 59.
Okay.
Preposition, his is a pronoun, 61.
Okay.
Thin, long, cane. Cane is a noun, 64.
Okay. So now
Now,
we could have done this for every type of
we would have done it for all the
word,
cards.
but we have only done it for pronouns and nouns.
Yeah.
And now we want to do some kind of
We want to resolve the pronoun to the noun.
pronoun resolve. So what we said is for every pronoun that we want to resolve, we have to look for the nearest noun,
before
that and say that this pronoun refers to that noun. So
Not, we can't do it for all pronouns.
yeah,
like
for example, it, 0, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
so the
so we
next
skip
pronoun is at 9.
9, okay.
So
So I can go to 9 directly, right?
Yeah.
Suppose,
So since the cards were in sequence, these lists are also,
in sequence,
which is very
it's
helpful.
Ordered. It's ordered.
It's ordered actually.
It's ordered, yeah.
Yeah.
So ordered list.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference
Yes.
because you can search. So 9,
His,
his.
right?
Now what we said is that we have to find a noun
Which is before 9.
before 9.
So now we know the nouns, right? So we know that the nouns before 9. So we start. It could be
2,
2,
3 or 4.
3, 4, and we wanted to look for the nearest one. But the
So
nearest
three,
one
4.
should also be a sensible one.
Okay, let's see.
So let's see.
So 2 is 1, 2. 2 is Monday.
Okay.
Anyway, that is not the nearest one. 3 is morning. 4 is Swaminathan.
Yeah.
So
So
you
now
need
this is, yeah. So
9 is 4.
So 9, in some sense. So this is the pronoun and this is the noun.
Nice.
So without going back and reading the whole thing, just by looking at this, because we are not interested in the adjectives, adverbs,
No.
verbs.
Right.
So we can kind of, and now we know that 4 is for 9. So now let's see what is 11, the next pronoun.
Next one is he.
So
So
now
that
we
also
want
should be
to,
something.
yeah. So now we know that there is no, yeah, except for 10. What is 10? Eyes. So obviously eyes is not Swaminathan. So 10 is also, sorry, 11 is also pointing back to the same 4.
Okay.
Then
So
27.
next is 27.
So this is also good because we can quickly find the pronouns without having to read the whole.
27 is it.
So it normally we don't think of as, we are thinking only of personal pronouns, so referring to people.
Yeah.
So it is not.
You could in fact
Yeah.
find a noun which is
We
like
could,
an object,
yeah.
but anyway, we are not doing that right now,
Yeah.
right? So leave it, then we go to 40.
40.
40, right? 40 is he.
So there should be something close to 40. So if you go now,
So we have to go back and search 40.
yeah, so it's obviously beyond 4 because 4 is where we were. But we go and then 39 is the nearest one.
So 39 is discipline. Ruled
So
out,
it's not
right?
37. So then 37,
37 is work.
no. 35,
35 is mood.
no. 34,
34 is Monday.
26, you have to go back a bit.
Okay, 26 Sunday.
24,
24 is Saturday.
22,
22 is freedom.
18,
18 is calendar.
okay.
I think
13,
you will come back to Swaminathan. We did it last time, right?
13,
13 is Monday.
okay. 10,
10 is ice.
eyes, okay.
Yeah.
So basically even for 40,
We came back to 4.
yeah, finally if you think about this, then 40 also comes back to the same 4.
So easy actually. I mean, basically because it's sorted,
Yeah.
you just have to find the one before it,
Correct.
right?
And then work backwards till you
and then
find the
work
one which is of the right type of noun,
Right.
because it's a person, it can't be Monday or
Yeah.
work or something like that.
Yeah. So again here we saw what is it we are seeing. We are seeing that we have made a dictionary.
Yeah.
The dictionary basically is dictionary by category. So you will have nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, verbs, prepositions, article, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And inside it we are storing the list of cards. You could actually, in this case, you could actually put the card also there because
Because each card is of one, has a unique category. And even if the same card appears twice, like you said, work, if it appears in the text somewhere else as a verb and once as a noun, then the copy there will be another number. Yeah, it will have a different number. So, so this is actually separating out the words into these different categories.
It is partitioning.
Partitioning them. Yeah. So every word belongs to exactly one of these.
The set is exactly one. So set is partitioned into these categories. And so you could keep the card, but you could also keep the index. We have kept the index.
Yes.
Right. Maybe because you may use you may have another dictionary, for example, right?
Yes.
So this dictionary is making sure that everything is in one. It's useful actually if everything goes into one bin, right? Because it's this binning.
This is
binning.
This is binning.
This is binning, right? This is what we discussed as binning.
Correct. So this is a dictionary which actually is binning this.
Which is partitioning.
Partitioning the list.
But you may have multiple dictionaries, and so therefore it might be useful to keep the index, right?
Yeah. And for instance, if just as an example, I think if we had this say adjective, if we had kept, we did not record it, but we could have as we went along. Then you could also ask, for instance, this adjective is referring to which noun. So again, you can do a similar thing saying
find the earlier adjective
or the later, the nearest noun on either side and
decide
which one it is. Right? So all kinds of analysis you can do by just looking at this list and not going back and going through the whole paragraph again.